Hey there, this is Steve M. Photog from Twitter. Um, those of you who follow me and are used to my rants know that I really am not incredibly fond of the newer plastic cameras. It's not that they don't do what you want them to do, it's that they seem like very expensive alternatives to things that I far prefer. And in this case, what we're talking about is the Kodak Brownie Hawkeye flash. This is my plastic lens camera of choice. I picked them up repeatedly for shipping plus a couple bucks or just shipping for that matter. To me, this is the item to have. It's cheaper, it's got a history, and I just love using them. So let's get started. I want to talk a little bit about the camera, how to load it, so we can take out some of the worry and intimidation about that might be keeping you away from this sort of thing. It's a very simple camera. You look down through the viewfinder, hello, you push the button, it goes click, you've taken a picture. That's it. There's very little more you can do. So when you buy a Hawkeye, it'll look something like this. Probably dirty, grimy, needs some help, probably will shoot just fine because it's too simple for words. I, on the other hand, I have several of these, but recently decided to go and spend some money and get a really sweet one made by the Holga Mods guy, who now is apparently also the Brownie Mods guy. And it's all pretty, and not only is it all pretty, but it's had a couple of functions that I like that I can make use of, like a tripod socket, and a cable release for the shutter, and a nice little strap to carry it around my neck and look a bit like a hipster, I'm sure, but anyway, I like it. So let's get started about what we need to do to reload one of these, or to load one. First of all, you're going to need a 620 reel rather. This is what the film is stored on, and it is in fact what the film is taken up on. Got to have one of these. Now, one really sweet thing about these brownies is that you can actually put a 120 roll, just the way it comes, into the feed air, or the supply end. But you do need a 620 reel on the take-up end. Because if you don't, it'll be too tight in there and it won't take up and just won't work. So you're going to have to either get one of these or modify one of these, and this is a 120 roll, modify one of these to work. You can do that. It doesn't take a whole lot of time or effort. Better though to have these. These can go for several dollars on eBay, and they're starting to get a little more rare than they used to be. The good news is though, each and every one of these things I've bought, which is several of them, has come with one of these in it. Now, you may get one without, I don't know. Got to have this. The difference between the two things, and this will show you why you have to have it. The reels, I don't know if you can see this or not. This is the 120 reel. This is the 620 reel. 620 reel, just slightly smaller in diameter than the 120 reel. Also, it's not as thick. So if you put the 120 in where the 620 belongs, you're probably going to experience more friction and tightening and binding, and it's just, in most circumstances, just not going to work. Okay? So remember, when you do shoot with this and you send your film into the lab, if that's what you do with it, be sure they know that you want this reel back, because they're used to dealing with trash they throw away, not nice pieces of metal vintage history that you'd like to keep and keep using. Okay? So we've got the take-up reel, and now we have the film. In my case, I really love running Ektar through plastic cameras. It's not for any scientific reason. I haven't done a study. I can't prove it. But Ektar seems to love living behind a plastic lens. I've discovered that shooting them in my Brownie, shooting them in Vivitar Ultra Wide and Slim. I just like the way Ektar looks in that, among other times that I like Ektar. So, my film of choice for these cameras when I'm shooting color. Open up the reel. There you got it. Okay, so we're going to pop this open. Oh, you know what? Before I go any further, let me hold that. Don't want to lay it down. Let me open up the Hawkeye. Very easy to do. It's a very simple camera. There's a little lever right here. You pull the lever back. Ta-da. Let's put that aside, the back aside. Here's the camera. Pretty simple, right? Got a lens, got a supply, got a take-up, got a place where it's exposed. This is a film path. Nothing to it. Okay, so putting that down, and the film is here. Open up the film. Be sure and keep kind of a tight hold of it. You don't want to let go accidentally and have this thing streaming across and becoming a problem. Once it does that, it'll become loose and you'll have all sorts of light leaks and ruined frames that you don't necessarily want. Okay, so first we got to put this thing in the camera. It's pretty simple. You've got one metal side that doesn't move, one metal side that's springy. So put that in the springy side and push, and then let it slide into the stationary side. That's it. All there is to it. You want the paper showing up. Otherwise, you're not going to get very far in this. Now, I'll pull a little slack. I'm going to take my take-up reel, and I'm going to thread it just through the slot. Going to give it a few turns. Again, paper showing up, or else this isn't going to work. Give myself a little more slack. Don't worry about exposing the film because you got a ways to go in the paper before you do it. Just kind of, don't pull it crazy, but you can pull it a little bit. All right, now the take-up goes right down here. And again, take-up has one solid side, one springy side. So we're going to get ourselves a little slack. Roll over here and push this down to the springy side. Okay, so once it's in the springy side, there, and you can hear it click into place. You may have to turn the reel until it clicks, but usually doesn't take much, and it's clicked into place. Now you put a little pressure on the springy side so that you can get it to fit down here on the other side. Boom. And then just start turning the take-up reel and kind of jiggling this thing around a little bit. Finger back here usually works until there, we've caught. As you can tell, we've caught because as I turn it, the paper tightens and it starts to move. Okay, you don't have to move very far, just move far enough to be sure that you have actually engaged this here and you know that it's going to move when you put it in the camera. Fortunately, a very simple camera like this, if it doesn't move, you'll know it pretty soon and you can pull it out and try again. So now, camera goes back, the working end goes back into the body. Simple. We take our lever, move it forward, that latches it into place. Now, you're almost ready to shoot. This camera, being cheap, simple, it doesn't know what frame you're on. You're going to have to look here to find out, this little red window. That's actually looking at the back of the paper of that 120 film. So right now you don't see anything, right? So I am going to start winding and winding and winding, and you will see, hopefully, very soon, markings on that paper. I'm just going to keep going and going. Oh, look, an arrow. See it? We're getting there. Keep going. Now we have this Kodak, yay Kodak, and a line, and keep going, and we'll see Kodak again. Oh, and a 2. Darn, that line wasn't a line, it was number 1. Don't do that. I just wasted a shot. There's no way of getting it back. Oh well. Okay, so now we're done. It's loaded, it's on frame 2, because I blew it. This being a 6x6, you will get 12 shots on this roll, or in my case, 11 shots, because again, I blew it. You have to do that on video, I think. And you're ready to go. Take a picture, you're going to push this button, and you're done. Another time we can talk about exposure and little differences in how to use this, but there's your quick introduction. That's how to load it. It's a glorious thing. It's Bakelite. It's not cheap, lightweight plastic, and I love them. I hope you try them. I hope you learn to love them too. Have a good day.